844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. David Marcus is the New York correspondent for the Federalist.com, which we talk about and read stories from and have guests on all the time. David Marcus today has the lead story in the New York Post, What Twitter Won't Censor. It's a really great story. We should probably tweet it out. And he's got some great examples. Donald Trump is now banned from Twitter. A lot of people are banned from Twitter. They censored me today. We'll get into that as we go along. And yet these rabid lefties can say anything they want. There's one they posted on the front page. Hashtag arrest Trump, not enough. Hashtag kill Trump. And then there's a smiling emoji after that. And that's up. That's up. The Ayatollah who's killed, who's a autocratic police state theocracy in Iran has killed hundreds of Americans over the years with improvised explosive devices. He's on Twitter, and he can talk about getting rid of Palestine, getting rid of the Zionist regime, i.e. Israel, and say Palestine will be free while the fake Zionist regime will perish. He's not banned. David Marcus, talk about a double standard here. Thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a shocking double standard. And I think that the most important thing that people need to know is that Twitter's safety guidelines, and that's supposedly what all of this is about, is they're trying to protect the health of the discourse on their platform. This has nothing to do with safety. This has nothing to do with protecting their users or the American people. Twitter, by censoring all of these entities on the right, are only acting in their own interest. And every time they do it, they're acting in their own interest. So, this notion that they have to do this because of their safety guidelines, as you saw from the piece and the examples that you just cited, it's a blatant and obvious lie.
Right. How about that? I just played a cut of of a congressman from New York on the House floor today saying that Trump sent his violent mobs to assassinate Vice President Pence and Speaker Pelosi. I mean, I would say that's pretty incendiary speech, isn't it? Not to mention totally false. Will he be banned? You know the answer. We both know the answer, right?
Of course he won't be banned because he is a member of the political party that serves Twitter's interests. Mm-hmm. When you look at the people who are being silenced right now, not just by big tech, but all over the place, you're talking about people like Donald Trump and Senator Josh Hawley, who are the biggest enemies of big tech that exist in all of politics. In fact, Josh Hawley lost his book deal with Simon & Schuster. The subject of that book was the tyranny of big tech. So it's very clear that they're acting in coordination in order to protect themselves and advance the political interests of the Democratic Party.
Right. Here's another one that you have in your piece. I don't know who these people are. Someone take this clown out now, all capital letters now, exclamation point, hashtag assassinate Trump, utter evil this man, exclamation point, hashtag Donald Trump. Someone take this clown out now. I mean, this is again incitement to violence, isn't it? I mean, if a Republican or a conservative or anyone had ever said that about Barack Obama or about Joe Biden now, they would be not only banned, they would be fired from their jobs if they had a job. If they had a business, their business would be destroyed. And yet these people act with impunity and they don't even get called out on it except by a couple of people who are left on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's argument for why it should have special liability protections under Section 230 so that it can't be sued the way that the Federalist or the New York Post or even you could be sued or any other outlet is that these are supposedly just general terms of service rules. So if anybody breaks the rules, then the rules would be applied equally.
Right.
We obviously see that that's not the case. We obviously see that there are human beings at Twitter making politically driven choices as to how the rules are enforced. At that point, they're no longer a neutral platform. they're a publisher, and they absolutely should be liable for the editorial choices that they make, just like any other platform is.
Right. You also mentioned here, this is a new one on me. There is a Twitter account that calls itself Pigs in a Blanket, Fry 'em Like Bacon. A call to kill police that is also found in a myriad tweets. That's what the BLM protesters were chanting at some point in various cities. And that means kill the cops, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. And that's an account. I don't see how that can be tolerated, even by the left-wing standards. There is currently a tweet up from the day of the Capitol riots that reads, "I hope the Trumpers out there all die of COVID." But David, it goes beyond that, because after I read your story today, and we were trying to get you on the show, I was going over the internet, and I saw that the FBI had posted some new documents from the past about Nancy Pelosi's father, who was the mayor of Baltimore, and he allegedly had mob ties, and JFK, the Democrat president, was asking J. Edgar Hoover to check into this, right? So I found a story, and it said, here's the headline: revealed, JFK, a Democrat, worried that Pelosi, a Democrat's dad, a Democrat, who was the mayor of Baltimore, was associated with organized crime. And then they cited all these FBI documents that were public record. So I said, that's a good story. I think my few remaining Twitter followers would like this story. So I tried to put it up. And I guess you know where the story's going, David Marcus. I try to put it up, and it says, something went wrong. That's in pink. It's in pink, black letters on pink. Something went wrong, but don't fret. Give it another shot. So I gave it another shot, and another shot, and another shot. And then finally a little blue, black lettering on blue came up underneath. We can't complete this request because this link has been identified by Twitter or our partners, unidentified, as being potentially harmful. Harmful to who, David? To Nancy Pelosi's memory of her father? It's public documents.
It's harmful to Twitter. I mean, listen, these are the same people that banned Dr. Scott Atlas, essentially for saying that lockdowns were a bad idea, that were going to destroy lives and not help very much with the virus, which is exactly what Andrew Cuomo finally said this week.
Right.
So there's no lengths that these people will go. They don't care. They don't care about the suffering of the American people. They care about their bottom line, and they care about power.
Yeah. And incidentally, as we all know, Dr. Scott Atlas is a physician, and Andrew Cuomo is not. And then the final sentence, though, David Marcus,
Andrew Cuomo is barely a governor.
That's true as well. Their final sentence to me, after they refused to post my tweet about Nancy Pelosi's father: visit our help center to learn more. Our help. Have you ever been to the Twitter help center? I haven't.
No.
I didn't think they would help me very much.
I'll tell you what makes this worse. On Facebook does the same thing, right? And sometimes the Federalist will run an article and Facebook will flag it. Now, the people who flag it at Facebook are their independent fact checkers, right? One of those independent fact checkers is the Dispatch, which is a competing so-called conservative outlet with guys like Jonah Goldberg and David French. So Facebook is literally having our competition decide which of our articles can go on their platform. It's insane.
Wow. Yeah, they really need to be brought down a notch, and I hope Parler gets back up. I gotta get out of this. It's amazing. The only other time I ever got cut off of Twitter was when I was covering a mob trial in Boston, and the testimony was coming so fast, and I was tweeting it. That's the only way you could do it. I just I posted like a teenage girl and an inordinate number of tweets, and they said, you got to take a rest for a half hour, Howie. But that's the only time I was ever it's censored, and it was just a question of posting too many tweets. And but now you would think they would be loosening up a little bit, when they've lost what, $5 billion in capitalization.
No, this is a long game for them, right? I mean, they were very nervous that if Trump had won and the Senate had stayed Republican, that those 230 protections were going to be attacked, that they were potentially going to get broken up. So this was an existential threat for them, and they are using the horrible events at the Capitol last week as cover to do basically some illegal things. I mean, what they're doing with Amazon to destroy Parler is illegal. But they're using this opportunity and pumping up this crisis as loud as they can so that they can take illiberal actions in their own benefit.
So I just conducted an experiment. There was a story about one of the Texas election fraudsters that was caught by Project Veritas in Texas.
Yeah.
She was indicted today. And I said, well, let's see if I can get that retweeted onto Twitter. I did. They let that one go through. She's looking at 20 years in prison. She was indicted by the Attorney General of Texas today. So it's not even across the board or consistent. You know, it's just this hurts Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi wouldn't like this one, so we've got to stop it. It's capricious.
Yeah, the system, it's absolutely capricious. And part of the reason that it's capricious is because the main way that they do this is by responding to complaints, right? So this isn't AI or an algorithm that's going through and finding stuff and getting rid of it. This is much more based on complaints showing up to Twitter and then people making active decisions over, yes or no, whether the tweet can go. And we know that Twitter's staff is overwhelmingly not just Democrat, but very far left progressive. So it is capricious, but it is also mostly overwhelmingly in one direction.
Yeah. So all these people today that are tweeting out, Louis Gohmert from Texas, he was quoting Nancy Pelosi, what she said last year about that she's surprised there aren't more riots. And so all these people they're dumb, they're stupid, they're not listening, they're not paying attention. They tweet out, Louis Gohmert is calling for more riots. Now, Louis Gohmert theoretically could call out, he could call the help center, right? And say, I've been defamed by these fools who weren't listening to what I was saying. But they're not. These people aren't going to be deplatformed, are they? These idiots who accused Gohmert of inciting more insurrection today, because it only goes one way, doesn't it, David Marcus?
It really does go. It really does only go one way, and it's shameful hypocrisy. But it's much worse than that because it is such a powerful platform. That they really do have the ability to impact our lives in enormous ways. I mean, the censorship of the anti-lockdown science was devastating to the United States of America. The censorship of the Hunter Biden story from the New York Post was devastating. I mean, there's polling that shows that had that story just been able to be out there without being falsely smeared as Russian disinformation, that could have swayed the election. It's entirely unacceptable.
Oh, God. It's so frustrating, but it's great to see this. It's great to see it on the front page of the New York Post, and you did a great job with it. I think you could probably do a follow-up every day for the rest of your life, too, couldn't you?
I mean, we basically have. I mean, the day before I ran a piece at the Federalist called "Twitter is the enemy of the American people." I mean, the spotlight has to stay on them, and big changes need to happen. And you guys can rest assured that the New York Post and the Federalist are not going to back off of this anytime soon. Good,
David Marcus. We'll tweet the story out and see if it. We'll try to tweet the story out. Let me put it that way.
It went through.
It went through. Okay, we have tweeted it out. That's the good news. All right, David Marcus from the Federalist and the New York Post. Check out the story. We just tweeted it out. What Twitter won't censor. Big tech's purge of hate and Parler, pure hypocrisy. Thank you, David Marcus. I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but was reminded of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer and a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. We're in a climate right now where a lot of people don't want to go into the city for whatever reason. Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free and it's plentiful. They're located right off the interstate highway. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols they've taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. And if you haven't been to the dentist in a while, you really need to get in there. The protocols they've taken make it a more pleasant experience, believe it or not, than it used to be. And it was always pretty good to go to Perfect Smiles. And we were talking to some of the people from Perfect Smiles today, and they say that some of their clients, believe it or not, they're grinding their teeth more. They're so nervous. They're so on edge about this panic and about all the unrest and turmoil and economic chaos, among other things in the country. They're grinding their teeth. It's bad. You need to take care of your health, your dental health. It's very important. To see for yourself and get your perfect smile, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile, change your life. I'm Howie Carr.